Erich Maria Remarque was a German author best known for his novel, All Quiet on the Western Front, which is a powerful anti-war novel based on his experiences as a soldier during World War I. Throughout his writing, Remarque imparted several important life lessons and expressed poignant insights. Here are some of his notable quotes and the lessons they convey. 1. I am young. I am 20 years old, yet I know nothing of life but despair, death, fear, and fatuous superficiality cast over an abyss of sorrow. I see how peoples are set against one another, and in silence, unknowingly, foolishly, obediently, innocently slay one another. This quote reflects the profound impact of war on the young soldiers who experienced its horrors. It speaks to the senselessness and tragedy of armed conflict. 2. We were 18 and had begun to love life and the world, and we had to shoot it to pieces. The first bomb, the first explosion, burst in our hearts. We are cut off from activity, from striving, from progress. We believe in such things no longer. We believe in the war. This quote encapsulates the disillusionment of the young soldiers who were forced to confront the harsh reality of war, which shattered their youthful optimism and dreams. 3. A man cannot realize that above such shattered bodies, there are still human faces in which life goes its daily round. And this is only one hospital, a single station. There are hundreds of thousands in Germany, hundreds of thousands in France, hundreds of thousands in Russia. How senseless is everything that can ever be written, done, or thought, when such things are possible. It must be all lies and of no account when the culture of 1,000 years could not prevent this stream of blood being poured out. These torture chambers in their hundreds of thousands. A hospital alone shows what war is. Remarque emphasizes the brutal reality of war and the futility of human endeavors in the face of such suffering and destruction. 4. I see how peoples are set against one another, and in silence, unknowingly, foolishly, obediently, innocently slay one another. This speaks to the manipulation and dehumanization of individuals in the context of war. Remarque highlights how ordinary people can be turned into instruments of violence through propaganda and societal pressure. 5. The soldier is on friendlier terms than other men with his stomach and intestines. 3/4 of his vocabulary is derived from these regions, and they give an intimate flavor to expressions of his greatest joy as well as his deepest indignation. This quote captures the harsh physical realities faced by soldiers and how their experiences are deeply intertwined with their bodily functions and survival instincts. 6. I am very quiet. Let the months and years come. They can take nothing from me. They can take nothing more. I am so alone, and so without hope that I can confront them without fear. This quote reflects the profound sense of isolation and desolation that can result from enduring the traumas of war. It speaks to the resilience and inner strength that can emerge from such experiences. 7. I am young. I am 20 years old. Yet I know nothing of life but despair, death, fear, and fatuous superficiality cast over an abyss of sorrow. I see how peoples are set against one another and in silence, unknowingly, foolishly, obediently, innocently slay one another. This quote emphasizes the loss of innocence and the harsh realities faced by young soldiers who are thrust into a world of violence and suffering. 8. We are not youth any longer. We don't want to take the world by storm. We are fleeing. We fly from ourselves, from our life. We were 18 and had begun to love life and the world, and we had to shoot it to pieces. Remarque touches on the sense of displacement and detachment experienced by soldiers returning from war. They struggle to reintegrate into a world that has changed, and they themselves have been profoundly altered. 9. The dead were as numerous as the living. They lay in the forest, on the road, in the fields, and on the meadows. The sun shone and the forest was merry, but one could not feel merry in that company. Those bodies killed something in us. It was the body we had lain beside a moment ago in the hospital. No, it was not like that. One had grown accustomed to that. This was different. We did not want to look at it. We could not look at it. Remarque vividly portrays the grim reality of war, where death becomes a pervasive presence that haunts the living and desensitizes them to human suffering. 10. He fell in October 1918 on a day that was so quiet and still on the whole front that the Army report confined itself to the single sentence, "All quiet on the Western Front." This quote is from the closing lines of All Quiet on the Western Front and underscores the tragic and poignant nature of the protagonist's death. It serves as a poignant reminder of the countless lives lost and the quietness that follows in the wake of such immense suffering. 11. I believe it's impossible to be objective about war. There is too much pain and horror for that. Remarque acknowledges the deeply subjective and emotional nature of war, emphasizing that its true nature cannot be fully comprehended without experiencing its pain and horror. 12. We were all at once terribly alone, and alone we must see it through. This quote underscores the individualized experience of war, where soldiers are ultimately left to confront the harsh realities on their own, despite being part of a larger collective. 13. And in that moment, I knew that if I were 10 times as intelligent, 10 times as informed, 10 times as daring, even with all my courage and my fists, I could do nothing at all. Remarque reflects on the feeling of helplessness in the face of overwhelming circumstances, highlighting the limitations of individual agency in the midst of war. 14. The war has ruined us for everything. This concise statement encapsulates the profound and lasting impact of war on the lives and psyches of those who have experienced it. 15. I am too alone in the world, and yet not alone enough to make every minute holy. I am too tiny in this world, and not tiny enough just to lie before you like a thing shrewd and secretive. I want my will, and I want to be with my will as it moves toward something I want. This introspective quote touches on the complex struggle for purpose and meaning in a world that has been shattered by war. It expresses a desire for agency and a sense of direction. 16. I am very quiet. Let the months and years come, they can take nothing from me, they can take nothing more. I am so alone, and so without hope, that I can confront them without fear. Remarque's words here echo the idea of inner strength and resilience in the face of profound adversity, suggesting a kind of stoic acceptance of life's challenges. 17. I am young, I am 20 years old. Yet I know nothing of life but despair, death, fear, and fatuous superficiality cast over an abyss of sorrow. I see how peoples are set against one another and in silence, unknowingly, foolishly, obediently, innocently slay one another. This quote, repeated here, reinforces the sense of tragic disillusionment and the harsh realities faced by young soldiers thrust into the horrors of war. 18. But now, for the first time, I see you are a man like me. I thought of your hand grenades, of your bayonet, of your rifle. Now I see your wife and your face and our fellowship. Forgive me, comrade. We always see it too late. Why do they never tell us that you are poor devils like us, that your mothers are just as anxious as ours, and that we have the same fear of death, and the same dying and the same agony? Forgive me, comrade. How could you be my enemy? This quote encapsulates the universal humanity that transcends national borders and allegiances. It speaks to the senselessness of war and the shared humanity of those caught up in it. 19. When a man has seen so many dead, he cannot understand any longer why there should be so much anguish over a single individual. Remarque conveys the desensitization that can occur when exposed to the relentless brutality of war. where the sheer number of casualties can numb the individual to the significance of each loss. 20. I see how people die, how a bullet or an artillery shell or gas takes away their life, but I have absolutely no sensation of death. I cannot feel death. I cannot even represent it to myself. Death is another world, a world not only without life, but a world that is cold and unfeeling. This passage delves into the surreal and almost incomprehensible nature of death in the context of war, where it becomes a distant and abstract concept rather than a personal experience. 21. Life did not intend to make us perfect. Whoever is perfect belongs in a museum. Remarque embraces imperfection as an inherent aspect of human existence, suggesting that our flaws and struggles are what make us human and worthy of recognition. 22. We are little flames poorly sheltered by frail walls against the storm of dissolution and madness, in which we flicker and sometimes almost go out. This metaphor paints a vivid picture of the vulnerability of human beings in the face of the overwhelming forces of chaos and destruction. 23. Only a man who has felt ultimate despair is capable of feeling ultimate bliss. Remarque touches on the profound contrast between extreme states of emotion, suggesting that the depths of despair can provide a unique perspective from which to appreciate moments of true happiness. These additional quotes further illustrate Erich Remarque's ability to articulate the deep emotional and existential truths that emerge from the crucible of war. His words continue to resonate with readers, offering insights into the human condition and the enduring need for compassion and understanding.